If you are currently married and feel like your spouse is sitting next to you on the couch and there's no connection there anymore, that at the end of the day, you're laying in the same bed together, but it feels like you're all alone, that pattern has a name and it also has a solution. And that's what this channel is all about. Today, we're going to be talking about why do I feel alone in my marriage, even though my husband is right next to me. Before we get started, my name is Jordan Johnson. I'm a marriage and family therapist, and I focus on specifically helping couples to understand better what's going on in their marriage, as well as what they can do to experience a better connection. I look at attachment cycles, patterns, and themes, and look at ways that people can introduce new skills into their marriage that will help them to be successful. Today's topic is really hard for a lot of people because it's one thing to be alone and single, but it's a whole other experience to be alone next to your spouse and feel like you can't connect even if you try. A lot of times this starts with just simple things, busy schedules. Maybe you have a kid or two or three, and all of a sudden your lives get busy with other things. Maybe your work schedules change and all of a sudden you're coming from different perspectives all the time and it's hard to see eye to eye. Maybe there's a rift in your marriage from a financial decision that was made or a medical concern, or maybe there's an affair. All those things can be out in the open and it can be something that causes stress and disconnection. But sometimes these things happen and they're not big enough events to cause you to have to work through the problem actively. And instead, you end up working through it through silence. Then you start to kind of develop your own ways of dealing with things without relying on the other person. So over time, get further and further away from each other. And so right now, I just want you to think about this. You are in a pattern. That pattern is what needs to change, and it can change. But we need to understand this pattern in order to be successful. Now, one of the main things we have to talk about is what is this pattern called? And this is called, in the world of psychotherapy, the pursuer distancer or the pursuer withdrawer type of pattern. One person, typically the woman, is desiring a deeper connection with her husband. And at the same time, as she pulls closer to him, he pulls away. And so what we need to understand is what's going on here? Does he not love me anymore? Does he not want to be married to me anymore? Am I not attractive to him anymore? But on his side of things, he might be thinking, why does she have to get so upset? Why can't we just be happy together? Why is she worried about all these things? It seems like she comes up with new things every day. And this is the kind of pattern that can cause him to withdraw very quickly. The challenge is when he withdraws, all of a sudden you're left feeling alone and anxious. So before we get into this a little bit more, I want to tell you about something. I have created a quiz specifically to help couples to see where they are at in their marriage disconnection. There are 4 major patterns of disconnection that this quiz will highlight based on your answers. Now, as the one watching the video, you can be the one to take the quiz, but it's going to be about a relationship. And so if you want to try that out, go ahead and follow the link in the description below or go to creating-connection.com/quiz. It'll take about 5 minutes to complete it. And you'll get some results that should be really helpful in understanding where you're at, as well as it opens up the door to understand it in a deeper way and to know what you can do to fix it. Okay, so let's think back to this pattern. There's a person pursuing and a person withdrawing. As the person pursues, typically the woman pursues the man and the man is feeling overwhelmed. He pulls back. This creates a reaction in the woman who says, oh no, now I'm feeling really anxious. Why are you pulling away? You must not love me. I need to go after you in order to get your attention and your love. And when you do that, it ends up becoming this moment for him where now he feels like he's not been able to take a break withdraw, deal with what he needs to, and then come back to the conversation. Instead, he feels like he never got the chance to take the break and figure things out. And now all of a sudden, she's coming to him in this heightened sense of stress. Okay, so one of the things we need to talk about right off the bat with this pattern is that we have two people that are both being influenced by their attachment style. So, what do I mean by attachment style? Well, from the very moment you're born, you have an attachment with your parents, caregivers, that shapes your view of how the world works and how relationships work. When you have these moments in very young childhood where you have safety and security and you feel loved and cared for, it triggers a positive connection with that caregiver, and you start to develop a secure attachment with them. There's been quite a bit of research over the last 50 years or so about this, but really what it all comes back to is human beings are designed to have secure attachment with parents, and that same kind of style moves you into adult romantic relationships. And so we carry with us the same attachment style as we had as a kid into our relationship as an adult. The challenge can be if we have a childhood where we don't have secure attachment, then we may have something like avoidant attachment, which is an insecure style, or we may have anxious attachment, which is another insecure style. Very often, an anxiously attached style person might connect with an avoidantly attached person. And all of a sudden, you have two people that can create kind of this pursuer distancer sort of dynamic with each other. And the reason why is because when the a more avoidant person, which is in this example, we'll say is the man, when he sees an intense negative emotion being expressed by his wife, he immediately takes that and says, "Oh no, this is getting too much. I don't know what to do with this negative feeling." And maybe it feels like, "Oh, I'm being attacked," or you're saying that I'm not good enough. So there's a shame response. And most of the time in those moments, it's triggering something for them in the past where they didn't feel like they could process through negative feelings with somebody else. And they were always left to take care of that themselves. And so he feels this buildup of stress. And then he says, I need to go away somewhere else and deal with this myself because I don't handle these things with another person. I handle them internally. The problem is when the anxious woman comes to him and says, "Hey, I really need connection right now because I'm freaking out. It's really hard for me when you don't talk to me and you don't give me this attention and you're not showing me that you're here for me." That gives this moment a really big challenge for her because she wants to be connected and he wants to step away. So her nervous system is saying, you need attention, you need connection, you need a physical presence with this person to know that they're actually going to stay with you. And so her emotional response is an indication that her stress levels have reached kind of a survival mode level, and she's doing what she can in order to stay connected, because if she doesn't, she fears that disconnection is going to ruin everything. On the other side, he's feeling like continuing to engage with this level of stress is going to push him over the edge. He's not going to be able to manage his own emotions very easily. And maybe that leads to anger. Maybe that leads to disconnection even more. And so he's trying his best to try to keep away from that. But in the process, he's not attending to the needs emotionally that his wife has. So as we're describing this, like put yourself into this story and like, does this really resonate with you? If it does, I really think that you're in the longing withdrawing or pursuing withdrawing type of relationship. And if that's the case, that's a pattern. It's a pattern that goes all across the world in all sorts of different relationships. It's not that you are individually broken. It is that you have a pattern that is difficult to maintain a connection without there being these moments of him pulling away and you pursuing. And so we have to learn about the pattern. And really, to be honest, for this change to occur and for the pattern to change, the good news is that it only takes one person. It doesn't take both people necessarily. It starts with one person. One person's saying, I'm going to do something different here. And when I do something different, when I understand the pattern better, now the pattern can start to shift. And so if you are the one that pursues, if you're normally the anxious person, start with the idea of regulating your own anxiety individually and talk to yourself in the sense that you can reframe or think differently about what he's doing when he pulls away. Because his pulling away is not him saying, I don't care about you, I don't love you, I'm never going to talk to you again about this. It's him pulling away that needs to be you need to think about it differently. You need to change your mindset. And so if you can go back to that moment and say, what can I do differently? That's where I want you to start thinking. He's actually trying to protect himself. He's trying to regulate himself. But the only way he knows how to do that right now is to do it on his own. And I want you to try to have some patience. See if he will come back to you. See if he gets some time, if he circles back to you and wants to continue the conversation. Sometimes that happens. And when that does, it gives you an opportunity to express yourself in a new way. But it starts with being able to regulate your own anxiety. When you experience that initial fear that he might not come back. And if you're the one who needs to pull away and talk things through internally, remember this: your partner does not know when you'll come back or if you'll come back. So it's very important that you communicate a need to take a break so that you can help your partner to calm down, help that anxiety to shift to more of a calm place, and then follow through. If you say, I need 30 minutes, come back in 30 minutes. The goal would be to be consistent with this. That's what builds secure attachment. So, after all this, this is just kind of the starting point, but I just want you to hear there is a way this pattern can change. So, go to the quiz, take the quiz, confirm what disconnection pattern your marriage is in right now. Get some quality education here on this channel. We're going to talk about this more as we go. And allow there to be a new frame of mind that will give you and your partner an opportunity to connect at a deeper level.